So, what would you do if you lived in one of the driest places on Earth? That's the puzzle we're going to try and solve today as we dive into the huge challenge of water scarcity in the Middle East and North Africa.
I mean, seriously, just stop and picture that for a second. You wake up, you go to get a drink of water or wash your hands, and absolutely nothing comes out of the faucet. Just air. It's a pretty scary thought, right?
Well, for billions, that's billions with a B, of people, that scary thought isn't just a thought, it's their actual everyday reality. So let's really get a handle on what this whole problem is about.
You know that empty faucet? It's a symbol for this massive problem called water scarcity. And believe me, it affects everything, from the food we eat to how countries get along with each other.
So what exactly is scarcity? It's actually a pretty simple idea, but it has huge consequences. All it means is that there isn't enough of something to go around for everyone who needs or wants it. And right now, we're talking about the most important something there is: water.
Okay, so here's something interesting. Water scarcity isn't just one single thing. It actually comes in two different flavors. On the left, you've got physical scarcity. That's easy to picture. It's like a desert where the water just plain isn't there. But on the right, you have economic scarcity. This is different. The water might actually be in a river nearby, but people can't get to it because they don't have the money or the tech to build the pipes and pumps to bring it to their homes. The Middle East and North Africa, they're dealing with both.
So you gotta ask, why? Why this part of the world? To really understand what's going on, we have to look at a map, because nature itself is what sets up this whole challenge. The number one reason, the big one, comes down to a single word: geography. We're talking about the land, the climate, the very spot this region is on our planet creates a place where water is just naturally super rare. Think vast deserts and scorching hot temperatures. Let me put this into perspective for you. In most of this region, they get less than 10 inches of rain. Not in a month, in the entire year. That is not a lot of water to fill up your lakes and rivers, let me tell you. Now, just to compare, let's look at a place like Massachusetts in the US. They get about 45 inches of rain a year. Yeah, you heard that right. More than 4 times as much. That just shows you the incredible natural challenge this region is up against from the very start. All right, so since rain is so rare, the few rivers they have are unbelievably important. They're like lifelines. But that brings us to a totally new kind of problem. What happens when everyone needs to share that one lifeline? I mean, really think about that. If a single river flows from one country to the next, who gets to decide how much water each country can take? Who gets to build a dam? And what does that do to all the people living downstream? It gets really complicated really fast.
And this isn't some made-up problem for a textbook. This is the real life and death story of two super famous rivers you've probably heard of in history class, the Tigris and the Euphrates.
Here's the dilemma. The rivers start up in Turkey. Now, Turkey wants to build dams to make electricity for its cities, which makes total sense. But a dam holds water back, and that means less water flows downstream to its neighbors, Syria and Iraq. And they desperately need that water for farming and, for people to drink. You see the problem here? One country's great solution for power becomes a huge problem for the folks downstream.
Okay, so the challenges are huge, the geography is tough, and the politics are super tricky. But, and this is the cool part, this is not a story about giving up. Not at all. It's a story about people getting super creative and fighting back.
So when you've got a problem this big, one that affects the whole planet, you need a global game plan, right? Well, for water, that plan has a name: Sustainable Development Goal 6.
This goal comes from the United Nations, and it's basically a massive promise to the world. It says that by the year 2030, every single person on Earth should have clean and safe water. It's a gigantic goal, but it gets everyone, everywhere, pulling in the same direction.
So how do you even start to tackle a goal that big? Well, governments have this whole toolkit, a bunch of different things they can do. They can build new high-tech water plants, make laws about saving water, fix all the leaky old pipes, and maybe most importantly, make peace agreements with their neighbors. It takes doing a lot of different things all at once. But out of all those tools, there is one that is just mind-blowing. It's something that sounds like it's straight out of a science fiction movie, literally making fresh drinking water from the salty ocean.
The process is called desalination, and the easiest way to think about it is like a giant, superpowered water filter. These huge plants suck in salty ocean water on one side, and through this amazing process, they push out fresh, clean water on the other side. Now, it's really expensive and uses a ton of energy, but if your country is mostly desert but has a long coastline, it can be an absolute game changer.
Okay, let's zoom out for a second. We've talked about the problem, the geography, and some really clever solutions. But what's the big idea here? What's the main takeaway from all this?
Here's the thing. You and me, we're not going to go out and build a giant desalination plant this weekend. And we're probably not going to be the ones to sit down and negotiate a water-sharing treaty between 3 countries.
And that's really the big idea here. Mother Nature sometimes hands us these giant, tricky puzzles, and some of those puzzles are just too big for one person to solve. The only way to solve them is by working together as entire communities, as entire countries, to come up with big, smart, cooperative solutions.
So I want to leave you with this question, because this story isn't just about a place far away. It's a lesson for all of us. What's the biggest environmental puzzle right where you live? And thinking about everything we just talked about, how could the people in your community start working together to solve it? Thanks for puzzling this one out with us.